Welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast, the world's #1 community for brilliant childcare leaders. Each episode will feature interviews with the brightest minds in the childcare industry to guide you into becoming a smarter business leader. Our hosts have opened 10 schools while raising 5 children. They are certified business coaches, best-selling authors, and have personally helped thousands of childcare owners around the world achieve incredible growth. Let's welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast, Brian and Carol Dupre.
Episode 16 of the Childcare Genius Podcast.
We're your hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre.
Before we begin, I want to let you know that this podcast is sponsored by Elissa Childcare Insurance.
Give Blake a call at 972-754-8595 to get a free quote on your childcare insurance today.
Awesome. So in this episode, we're going to interview Professor Elissa Woodle.
Elissa's an owner of 2 large schools in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
And today's topic is creating an amazing teacher orientation and mentorship program.
Let's get Elissa on the line.
Hi, Elissa. Welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast.
Morning, Brian. Morning, Carol.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Doing well.
You are located in beautiful, sunny Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. What's the weather like down there?
Today is sunny, low 70s, beautiful outside.
We're recording this in November, and it's almost 70 degrees in Maine, too. So we're not complaining at all. We're enjoying it. But we know before we know it, that white stuff will be falling from the sky, and then Carol will be sad for a couple months until the sun comes out again in May. We can see my grass again. You don't see my grass from November to May. Crazy. Anyway, we're going to talk today about teacher orientation and mentorship, which is an amazing subject. So I can't wait to hear from you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the childcare business.
I surely will. I started out and discovered the early childhood business when I was in high school. I actually babysit and tutored, and after that went on to college and ended up at Horry County Schools after that for 15 years. 13 of my 15 was special needs. My last 2 years with the district was reading recovery. So after that, I thought I had better things and higher expectations, and I went on and bought my first center in 2003. We will be celebrating 20 years of business as of this January 1.
Wow.
That's
20
awesome.
years watching kids.
20 years.
So you opened your first school. Tell us about your first school.
Our first school, that is actually a funny subject. Our first school was actually built in the 80s, but it was built as a strip club. Then it was renovated and turned into a childcare center. Then when I left that building and bought my own building, because I only leased that building getting started out, it's now a funeral home. So it's been through all walks of life. We used to talk about the disco ball in the ceiling.
Wow, what a big
funny.
transcend. So you have 2 schools now.
I do.
And you own 2 schools with over 500 children combined right now, which is
Yes.
amazing. How many staff members do you have?
73.
Wow, that's a big center.
It
And
is.
so it's huge. And is it fun to manage?
Honestly and truly, I've had small centers and big centers. I would rather run a big center than a small center because you have more resources to pull from.
Yes.
No, I totally get
Yeah.
that for sure.
Yeah,
Can you tell us about your teacher orientation program?
absolutely. Our teacher orientation, we discovered years ago that we needed more support in the early childhood department. And we went so far as to develop a program that our teachers go through every time our new team members. And they go through this and they learn how Creative Beginnings operates every day. And it helps them be acquainted and accustomed to our growth, our values, our goals, and our high expectations.
Love that.
I like that.
And so when somebody comes in, new start, can you walk us through a little bit about what you're doing with the teachers?
Yes. So their first day they come in as part of their onboarding process. As part of their onboarding process, from day 1, they'll go in and everything's broken down in sections. Day 1, you'll master these goals. Day 2, you'll master the next goals, and so forth throughout the week. South Carolina requires 15 hours of DSS hours, but we have like 26 at the end of everything, at the end of the week.
20. Oh, so you're doing 26 hours of training right in that week one.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
great.
week one. And then they
So-
transition to the mentor program.
All right, good. Well, we're going to talk about the mentorship program here in a little
Mhm.
bit. So how do you feel that, before you had this program, do you feel, or did you have it right from day one? When did you implement this? How many years ago?
It's been about 5 years ago now. We have really seen a big mindset shift with our teachers, more confidence, more willing to grow, more asking for more responsibilities.
Oh, that's good.
Good. Well, so they help, they're involved in it. They're helping the training. Who's the one doing it mostly? The director or you or one of your teachers?
We have a senior mentor at each school. Senior
Okay.
mentor walks them through the orientation program and helps guide them through in the week. So it's not so much as the director. The director is behind the scenes, but the main person that is actually facilitating this on a weekly basis is the senior mentor.
Awesome. All right. So I coached you for over a year. So I was your coach and we worked together. And I was always so impressed with how organized you were and your onboarding, your orientation, your mentorship program. So can you explain to the audience, what your mentorship program it does and how a mentorship program in their school would be beneficial to them?
When our teachers come and go through their orientation program, they spend a week and they get acquainted with how our centers work and operate, and then they're going to migrate to a mentorship program. Our mentorship program is led by our senior mentor, and they have a signed mentor in the building. So they have somebody to bond with, they have somebody to grow a relationship with, and they have somebody to go to there when they have struggles or they will have wins, they have goals that they need to accomplish, or they just need understanding.
So walk me through what, like if somebody's assigned a mentor, give me some of the things that they're going to go to that mentor for. Give some ideas of just different things they would use that mentor for.
So their mentor and their mentee will set up a weekly schedule, and going through this weekly schedule, they'll set up times that they can go through and they can meet their goals. It's a 6-month process, and through the process, we'll go into an in-depth view and process of the goals. Each mentor will create a schedule to exceed and go through their wins, their learns, and their goals. Each section is broken down, allowing the mentor understanding, asking questions, and to watch demonstrations of each section of our mentorship program. As the process goes through, we have checkpoints to make sure that these skills are being mastered as the process goes through.
That sounds awesome. So if they have a question on anything, they know to go to this one person that they've attached. And how long is this person their mentor for?
6 months.
And at what point does a mentor or a mentee becoming a mentor? How long, like how senior are your mentors in your center?
Well, you have to have at least some education in the early childhood field. You have to be employed with Creative Beginnings at least 1 year, and you have had to have a good progress report throughout the year.
All right. And who's the one who picks these mentors? Is it you or your director? You have somebody like handpick these people?
The director and the senior mentor, they pick them.
So what advice would you give somebody who's listening, who's thinking about creating one, why it's important to have a mentorship program? What's the biggest selling point you think that you're going to, what's the biggest benefit you get out of it?
The biggest benefit you get out of a mentor and orientation program is more of the psychological view. The psychological view is huge when it comes to the confidence of these staff members. When it comes to the confidence of these staff members, they will go way beyond the call of duty and their job description, just because they have the confidence to be able to accomplish all tasks before them.
So I'm hearing from a lot of directors and a lot of owners, rather, that they're hiring people and throwing them right into a class day one and without any kind of training whatsoever. You're probably going to be hearing that too when you start coaching here soon. Why is that not a good idea?
It's not a good idea because even if they've had past experience in other centers and other environments and other, maybe a different setting, they don't know your way. They don't know Little Angel's way. They don't know Creative Beginnings way. Everybody has their own vision. Everybody has their own goals, and everybody has their own mission. Everybody's is different. You need to put the foundation there before they can be successful.
Now, this takes an investment on your part, which I know you've committed to doing. Do you find out that you have less turnover because you have these programs?
Absolutely. Now, I have to speak before COVID. I have 73 employees, and before COVID, I only lost 11 employees.
Well, that's great, incredibly good turnover.
Yeah.
So some people say, I can't afford to have a mentorship program, but can you afford to have a revolving teacher program
Exactly.
if you don't have a mentorship program?
It's cheaper for you to have the mentor program than it is to have a revolving door.
Exactly. It's a catch-22. If you take a little bit of time and invest in this proper orientation, proper mentorship program, then you'll eventually have the cycle where teachers won't leave you. They'll know where the bathroom is. They'll know where the fire extinguishers are. They'll know your safety protocols. They'll know the teachers' names around them, and they'll feel part of a family. Whereas instead of just throwing them in a classroom, they have no idea where anything is, what to do, if something goes wrong, what emergency procedures are, and it's chaos. And then you wonder why teachers leave for lunch and they don't come back. I'm hearing these stories all the time. That's why they didn't feel part of something. And
Exactly.
I bet your teachers feel like they're part of a team,
They
a family.
do.
And I'm
They
sure
do.
it's less stress on the staff, the director, and you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
I
was
wonder why you
director.
always seem so calm every time we talk. Now I know.
Well, I was the director of my center before I stepped out, before I built my second location for 17 years. And as a director and as an owner, yes, you see things a little bit differently, but I've walked in both of those shoes. So having this program, I wouldn't run a center without it.
I love that.
And a good owner has walked in all the shoes at the location.
Right.
Between fixing a toilet, Carol could take apart a dryer. She could take apart a toilet. She puts toilets in. I'm not good at that stuff. She does it all, and she's walked through every possible step in the daycare. That's why she's so respected when she walks in the room. You know,
This is
she's
true.
changed just as many diapers as they have.
This is true.
And what did you like best about having Brian as a coach?
Oh, put me on the spot here.
That's the easy one, Carol. Brian has walked the walk and talked the talk about owning multiple site centers. And that's where he is genuinely, that's his superpower, is helping people be successful and grow. It's hard for people to understand when they've never been in a team and they've never walked the walk and talked the talk. You can stand there and you can coach all you want to or teach all you want to, but until you've walked in those shoes, then you will understand.
Yeah, there's a lot of coaches out there that haven't walked in other people's shoes. It's hard. I've been there. I've had those days where I want to cry, so I've been there. I understand that. We've had licensing violations. We've had everything that possibly could happen. I've had happen to us. And so I could feel empathy. I could feel your pain and compassion. But you were one of the most joyful people to coach, Elissa, because you're always so organized. You use great systems in place. And all you needed were just slight course corrections. That's all. You're so easy to coach because you have all the skills. You're a great owner. You have a huge program. And it's even getting bigger, and we just love it. I can't wait to visit your school. I've never been to your schools in Myrtle Beach. I'm going to be coming definitely down that way and visit down there for sure. Now, one of the things I'm really excited about is we were on a coaching call, and you told us that you wanted to join Childcare Genius University. So we're all set to bring you in our university. And then you said, you know what, Brian? No, you said, you know what, Brian? That's my little take on my Southern accent. Brian, I think someday I'd like to be a coach on your team.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, Lord, you just put a bug in my ear. So I didn't say anything at the time. I had, Carol and I were praying about who to bring on our team. And the Lord just kept speaking your name to me. And you just put that little seed in my ear. And I was like, you know what? She would be amazing because she has a lot of staff members, a lot of systems. You're great with teacher orientation. You're great with mentorship. We knew that you would be such a blessing to a lot of our members. So we know that you're excited to be on our team now. And what are you looking forward to the most when it comes to helping other child care center owners?
helping other child care centers go through the same steps that I've gone through, Brian, it's an amazing accomplishment going from one center to the other. It's a goal that everyone wants to reach in our field. I am so happy and honored to be a part of growth of other people going from single centers to multi-site centers.
Yeah, you are such a giver. And that's what I really like about you, that you really want to help other people. I have the same genuine feel like, like I've done a lot with the business. I've been very successful, but I want to see other people. Like my legacy is that what can I do to leave an impression that after I die, I've left my footprint on thousands of other people to create a difference in the lives of children around the world. That is what I'm trying to do. Your schools, you can make an impact this big, which is important, mind you. But by coaching, I could take and magnify that millions of times and just let it waterfall. Every time a book goes out, one of our books goes out around the world, that's planting a seed of helping somebody else around the world. And that is the passion, Carol and I, that's what gets us out of work. We could have retired years ago and lived very comfortably, but no, we want to give back to the community that's been so good to us. And thank you so much for being so selfless and wanting to help other people.
Brian, you and Carol will be blessed 3 times fold for that.
Amen to that.
Thank you. So our mindset question for you is, what do you do to relax?
Carol, I enjoy spending time with friends and family, cooking, fishing, and just unplugging and enjoying life.
What do you fish for down South Carolina?
Well, Brian, we have a creek house. In our creek house, we get out on the dock and we just fish for, we caught, what was it, flounder this past weekend.
Oh, wow.
Just out on the dock in the marsh.
That's awesome. So Carol calls it a crig.
Crick.
Yeah.
It's a creek. You call it a crig.
A crick.
Pennsylvania.
When you guys come, you'll have to come fish with us. You'd love it.
I'll fish in the creek. Carol will fish in the crig.
Okay.
It's not a crig, it's a crick.
Okay. See, we have these little things going back and forth. The Pennsylvania girl, the Maine boy. But anyway, Elissa.
Brian, Carol, I appreciate you having me today. I feel very honored to share with you guys.
Well, it's been an absolute blessing. It's been our absolute pleasure. We know that you've blessed other people. If somebody's out there and they had a question and wanted to reach you, can you give them your Child Care Genius email out?
Yes, Elissa Woodle
I think it's just Elissa, right? ELISSA at childcaregenius.com. And you could reach Elissa and ask her a question, and she'd be happy to help you out. And if we can help you out, just reach out to info@childcaregenius.com. We could put you in touch. And thanks again for joining the Child Care Genius podcast. Boy, Elissa's such an expert at onboarding and training staff.
I'm so glad she's a coach for our team.
It's one area that I think center owners are probably the weakest right now, especially since we've gone into the staffing crisis. So many people are just throwing teachers right into a classroom right now, and they're not in orientation, and they wonder why they have a revolving circle. And, we have an onboarding program, we have a slight mentorship program, but we're going to make it better thanks to what some of the suggestions Elissa had today. And she's given me some great ideas.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. So if you need coaching in your childcare business, Childcare Genius University is here to help.
Just visit childcaregenius.com/university for more information or to book a free discovery coaching call with Brian.
Yep, get on the line and we can get on the calendar and we could talk about how we can help you for sure. So just a reminder that we still have a few promotional copies of our new book, Advanced Childcare Strategies, Secrets to Profitability, Expansion, and Wealth Creation.
We'd like to offer this book to our U.S. podcast listeners absolutely free.
And free means free. If you live in the U.S., we'll autograph the book and ship it to you, and we will even pay for the shipping costs. Just visit childcaregenius.com/books.
If you live outside the U.S., you can order the book on Amazon.
And if we can help you in any way in your business, just feel free to email us at info@childcaregenius.com. We answer all emails personally and no questions too small. So this concludes episode 16 of the Child Care Genius podcast.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss a future episode, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you for listening to the Childcare Genius podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so you won't miss a future episode. Don't forget to visit our website at childcaregenius.com to see a list of services we offer to help your childcare business grow. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the Childcare Genius community.